Hello everybody, it's Karen from Vintage Style Journals. I mentioned in my last video that I'd made a fairy journal, a little baby fairy journal, and I thought I would like to let you know how to put it together, but I cannot find it anywhere. And so what I thought I would do would be to just show you inside the fairy journal and how I actually made it, so that if you're thinking you might like to make one too, you can actually just make along with me. So what I've got here is the printables that I've actually put up online of the fairy journal that I created. Many of these fairies are some of the stickers that I've made as well, that I sell as die cut stickers. They're all vintage sort of looking designs and wings to go with them. This little one here is one of my own paintings. That's Esmeralda. I've got a really big painting of her here at home, but I put her in the fairy journal because I think she's just gorgeous. And what I've done is I've actually added little rhymes that go with each of the fairies as I've gone along. And I've made a little journal out of it. So this represents the pages in the journal, these strips here. And in the printable or the digital download, there's actually 3 sheets, and they're all different fairies, different little verses, and the end pages are just these lovely designs here. A pair of fairy wings that were on Esmeralda, I've just put in the middle of the page there. So, yeah, it's really quite a gorgeous little little journal. And this is the front cover. It's quite small. As you can see, there's my finger. It's quite a small one, and I've put Esmeralda on the front there. Once the fairy journal's complete, that's the size of it. And so, yeah, I just thought you might be interested in making it along with me. If you decide to download my digital download, you can get it there. But in case you want to create your own, you know, this is just another way of showing you how to do it. So that's the front and back cover. I have got another front and back cover up online as an alternative as well. So you'd need to have a look at that if you're interested in doing it. So I'll just put that aside for a moment, and I'll put these aside. But what I've been doing is I've started off making the journal up. So this is just these strips have been sort of trimmed down, and this is the outcome of each of the strips, and I've concertinaed them to actually start off in the journal. So eventually it's all going to go in here like this. This is the front and back cover. You could actually put a lovely piece of different paper over that if you prefer not to have the white background, because the first page, not sure why this happened, but the first page is probably will fit because once they're all in, the journal starts there, so it doesn't actually have to fit there. But you can actually stick a lovely piece of card or something over that and then start attaching. I might think about that in a minute anyway, but I'll get on with just showing you how I've made the journal. So each of the strips are here. I've got them all in a row as far as the journal goes, and the consecutive pages, I suppose. And I've done page 1, I think that's page 2, and that will concertina out and join on with this one here. I will be gluing each of these on the back, and I'll show you how to, you know, what to do in a minute. But I just thought I'd get through and actually start concertinaing some of these pages. So there's 1, 2, 3 pages. We'll just pop those there and get on with this one. So the first time I made this, I found that the pages were a little bit funky insofar as the way that I'd folded them. So I've come up with a better idea as to how to fold them. And so now what I do is I just bend this one forward and line it up with the line. I've put a tiny little faint line on each of the pieces that will represent the pages. So I just line it up with that so that it's beautifully level and then just score it down, and then just push this one back, line it up with the front one there just so that it's in line. Make sure all these levels are all lining up as well. if you're anything like me, you want to rush through it and get it all done quickly, so it'll all be very funky and wobbly looking. So just press that one down. Again, just bring it up and make sure that these ones here are all level together. So don't worry so much about the lines, but just worry about, or not worry, but think about just making sure that they're level, so that when these are all folded, they will make the front of, oh, will they make the front? They'll either make the front or the back of this spine that goes in here. They'll make either the front flip through pages. This will be the front, this will be the back. So it's good to have them all level, so that when they actually go into here, they're actually not going to be crooked at the front. So yeah, just take a little bit of time doing that, and that's what I did. So I'm just lining it up with the front one here again. Well, trying to. So anyway, I'll show you this one, and then I'll do them, and then I'll come back, just so that we've got a journal creating option that is not thoroughly boring you to death while I fold. But if you want to take some time, just, you know, try and line up. Make sure the front ones are lining up, I suppose. They'll be the front pages because it'll open out this way. It's more important, I suppose, that the front is lined up more so than the back. But yeah, go along and see how you go. I'm just going to get through the rest of them, and then I'll show you how to put it together. Okay, so I've done a few of them, and I've clipped them together just really for safekeeping and for keeping them in order. Just up to the last couple now. So just keep folding inwards as you go, starting off with the first page of each strip, folded inward up to the first line. Can be a little bit tedious, but better to, you know, try and get it right the first time, because you might have a wonky book, but, you know, in the end it really doesn't matter. It's just a really interesting little fairy book. So I've cut mine a little bit quickly when I cut the strips. I find that my cutting mat is just a little bit off kilter sometimes. When I go to cut something, it seems like it's either my eye or it's the machine that I use to cut it is crooked. I like to think it's probably the machine, but could be me. But yeah, so just as you can see, I'm folding, I'm concertining it as I go, and the last page over there. So just make sure that these edges here are as straight as you can get them, and the front bits will end up being straight as well. So that one goes there at the back. Nearly done. On to the last one now. So just the first page goes forward again up to the line there. And sorry about that noise. It's my husband turning on the tap, I think. And just bring it back towards you so that you can see the front where you're folding. If you turned it over, it would be more tricky to actually get it straight. So keep that in line there. Make sure that's in line. If you cut it straight, if you don't cut it straight, like I've probably gone a little bit crooked, it'll probably be a little bit wonky. But yeah, I suppose just makes for an interesting book, doesn't it? It doesn't have to be perfect, but it will be very cute. I can guarantee that. I was thinking of my original one. I really don't know what happened to it. It just flew the coop. I really don't know where it's disappeared to. Probably end up coming across it again in another year or something. I'll find it when I'm cleaning out the room, but very disappointing because I wanted to show you it finished already before I started this one. But this is it. So they're all the pages, and they just need to be glued down now. So I'm going to start off and show you, but I'm not going to go through all of them, just so for time's sake, and I don't want to bore you to death. Let's just clip those there. So these first pages, you do have an order of the pages on the sheets. So if you just follow the order, you can't go too wrong. And really, when all is said and done, it doesn't matter if some of them are out of order anyway. So we're not going to worry about the front. We're just going to go with the pages at the moment. So for each page, that just needs to be glued down at the back. Not sure what glue to use. I think I'll just use a glue stick. should have had it ready. Just grab it from the back here. You can use glue that probably won't buckle up the page. I think just keep that in mind. So whatever craft glue you use is fine. I think the glue stick is probably going to work a little bit better. So what I'm aiming to do is to stick those pages there together so that you've got it. Sorry, I'm going out of whack here with the camera. Just so that you've got it looking like that. So those two pages, just put the glue on the inside of the very middle pages and you should be right. You won't stick the pages together inappropriately. Oh, I don't know if that's working. Okay, I'll get some better glue. Okay, so just, well, that kind of came out of the bottle there. I'm just using Craft Smart Tacky glue. It's come out a little bit too quick for me there, but yeah, just whatever glue you prefer to use is perfectly fine. Just need to make sure that the pages are stuck down reasonably well. Try to get up to the edges as much as you can. And just pretty much glue that one down there, glue that one down there. Okay, so what that's going to leave you with is a little page here. Just make sure that that's nicely glued down. So that's the first page, second page, third page, obviously. And just make sure that they're stuck down nicely. You can use one of these. I'm assuming the glue is going to come out of here if I do it too much, because it depends how much glue you put on it, but it really does need to be stuck down nicely just so that you've got a nice chisel edge here. So, and this is going to represent the page. That's why I've made it, printed it onto paper. And so, yeah, so that's the next lot we're going to do is the next group of, actually I've done the first one second, or the second one first. Doesn't really matter because I'm just going to get them in order in a minute. So that's the second lot. I think, you know, just take it easy with the glue. Just make sure that you don't overdo the glue, otherwise it'll be a little bit bubbly. So you just need to figure out which glue is better for you. Okay, so what I'm going to do, back down like this is how it's going to look. Actually, that looks a little bit crooked. I think I haven't actually put that down properly. So when you fold it over, you can actually see that. So it should be lined up a little bit better than that. My bad. All right, so I'm just going to put the glue on the two center ones again. Hopefully it won't come piling out again. Just make sure along the edges are nicely glued, particularly the outside edges here. The inside's not so big a deal, but just as long as the glue doesn't spit out the sides, but it actually glues down the pages together. So I'm just going to fold that one in there, press down, same with that one, just press down. Probably just, all right, so I'm going to glue some more and I'm going to come back in a minute and show you just how to set it all up and put it together. So this is the actual first page. The last one that I glued was here. This is the second lot. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be attaching those two just to join each of the strips together. And then once they're attached, there'll be a nice little spine there and a nice little front there. So that's what I'll do. I'll do that before I just stop the camera and do some more, so that we're not just sitting here gluing all afternoon. I think you can see where I'm going with this anyway, so just hopefully it won't all spit out. I've printed this up just on some really lovely old paper that I found at an op shop, but you can print it up even though it looks quite white. It's a vintage old paper, But just any paper that you normally would print up is perfectly fine. Now I've just got to line this up. I might turn that over. It'd be funny if I lined it up and put it upside down, wouldn't it? So just line it up with the edge of that page there, because we don't want it to look out of place when it's at the front. This is why it's quite important to, when you're cutting your strips, these strips along here, that they're cut pretty well and straight. Otherwise, this part here is going to look a bit not so straight. Where are we? There's the join. All right. Where do I join it? There we go. So I've joined it in the middle. I think that one there. So I've glued that one to that one, which is just continuing on the book. So I just want to flatten it out a little bit more, just so that that's glue is really attached itself to the page and to the other page. So just keep going along like that, and eventually I'll have a nice little fairy book. So I'll just get through the rest of them and we'll come back and do the spine. Okay, so I'm coming up to the last two little pieces and I'll just glue those together. So the two in the middle, just always make sure you put the glue on the right ones. I don't suppose it matters if you put them on the other one, but because they'll all be glued down appropriately in the end. So I'll probably put a little bit too much there, so I'll just grab some of that and put it over here. Right, nearly there. Okay, let's grab that one up, give it a little brush there. I'm not still in the picture, am I? No, sorry about that, guys. So yeah, just give it a little push along there, and then just push that one down there into the middle. Flick it down, turn it around. Just make sure that that edge along here is nice and sharp. So that's that one done. Just going to pop some glue on the front of that. It doesn't take too long, it's just a little bit fiddly, but it's worth it in the long run. I mean, this will make a great gift for a little girl. Just making sure I've got the right page here to glue it to. I find that if you pick it up and then just hang on to those and just keep that one up in the air, and then just try and wangle it so that it goes right up against the edge as much as possible. I suppose even if you don't get it right up against the edge, you can always go over it with some, you know, just put some antiquing on the edge with a stamp pad. A lot of people like to brown edges of things. I'm not that way inclined for everything. I don't mind doing it for some things, but I think sometimes we can get a little bit carried away with the browning and making it look old when we really know it isn't. Yeah, so anyway, each to their own, but I don't tend to antique the edges of things all the time. But it is a good idea if you want to do it in this particular case, because you can see here, because I've cut it crooked, I'm going to have to trim that. Actually, I probably won't worry about it, but you can trim that. But yeah, just another reason why you should try and make it straight from the beginning. I think I'm just trying to get through this a little bit too quickly, just so that I can get to the end result. So yeah, it's pretty straight along the edge, pretty straight along the front. Just at the bottom here where I've cut it a little bit crooked, it's looking a little bit funky, but that's all right. And this is the last page, so we'll just glue that down. Come on, glue, out you come. All right, don't need any more than that. You'll just drown it and it'll be all bubbly. So yeah, just bring that one over like that. And just go under here, sharpen it out a little bit. Sorry, I keep going out of camera, I'm sorry about that. And just Oops, nearly did it. Nearly glued it down. Oh my giddy aunt. Anyway, back here. And just press that out there. So what we're going to do, fold that down, then I can glue that. And this will be the last page of the little journal. And just grab a hold of these, get it onto this one. So you can see the 3 pages that are pretty much like an A4 size in the digital printout are actually, you know, adequate for a gorgeous thick little journal. So I think if you did this with card, it would be really far too thick to play with. Yeah, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to leave that, and I'm going to pop a little clip on that just to keep it at the edge there. We're going to glue along that edge in a minute. But what I've decided to do is I found some of this gorgeous paper, I suppose. I don't know what you call it really. It's a webbing sort of paper. And I think instead of having the middle plain, I'm going to just put that over the middle. So I might just cut that now and get that done. Just... even if it's not perfect, does not matter, because you can always trim it down if you need to. So just cutting around the edge there. Because it's so small, it doesn't take much just to cut a little square like this and pop it on. I'm just going to glue that down. And I think this glue will be okay for that. This would be a good time to antique your edges if you want to do that. I'm not going to, as I said before. I'll just put this page down just so that when you open the little journal, this is actually going to be the middle of the journal, or the covers rather of the journal. All right, I just might spread it a little bit with my finger. Don't want that glue coming, because the webbing is quite thin, and there's a lot of porous parts to it. I don't want it sort of coming through it too much. Yeah, it just depends on the type of glue you use, I suppose. I haven't been using this glue for very long. I'm using it mostly because my other glue, I don't know whether it's the weather or what it is, but it's actually starting to get really hard to push out of the bottle. So yeah, that's all right. That'll do. That'll be on the inside rather than just a white page. Very fairy-like, I think. A little bit gold and pretty. Or you know, you could easily just paint the inside of it, or just add a sheet of another type of paper. Right, so here's the journal. Just make sure I've got it the right way. Now we've got the first page be opening. I might stick that down actually, the first page and the last page, so that we've got a really good anchor on the edges on each end of the book, and just have that for the middle. So I might just do that, but I just want to make sure. I haven't, you can see that's a lot thinner than the journal itself. It's quite thick, but it'll work. It'll come around the journal rather than being straight and chiseled edged. It'll actually make a nice rounded edge on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sit that somewhere in the middle. And actually stick those end pages down about there, like that. And then that's going to keep it sturdy there. But before I do that, I'm going to put some glue on here. It's a nice thick little journal, isn't it? Look, you can choose whatever glue you're going to use for this. I'm hoping that... Actually, I'm not going to use this glue. I'm going to use a different glue that I've got in here. Just have to grab it. It's quite a steadfast, like a sturdy sort of glue. Just need to move my computer to grab it. Right, here we go. it's this one. This one, you really can't go wrong because it is so sticky. And so I'm going to put that particularly on the edges of here. So let's just give it a go. You can use a lot. It's coming out a little bit green, as you can see, and I think that's just because the pin that's in there is causing a little bit of discoloration as you first put the glue out. In a minute it'll actually start coming out clear, but it really doesn't matter because it's going to be on the spine and you won't even see it. I think this glue, I think you could stick anything together with it, and it really, you can see I'm putting quite a bit on there, and it really lasts. I'm going to put a little bit on the inside edges of this paper as well, just so that we can start that off when we get to sticking it down onto the page. Hopefully my eye will get it in the middle. When I made this little journal, it was all just a little bit trial and error, thinking, okay, how can I do this? Just make sure it's up the right way. Okay, that's the front of the journal. Right, so here we go. Gonna give it a shot. Oh, scary time. Right, so grab a hold of that and maybe turn it around, might be a little bit easier. Just go for the center. It should, the pages should be just a tiny little bit down from the top and down from the bottom. I tried to make it so that there was enough edge so that when you open it, the pages went right up to the edge of the cover. That looks all right. So I'm pressing down quite firmly on that, and that's, you know, quite sturdy now that they're all together, those pages. I'm just going to grab my, whatever this is, can't remember what it is actually, a flattening thing, and just put that down, because I put the glue on the other side of that page there, and there, and just, that'll just give it a head start. I think when I shut that up, go a little bit over. I feel like I'm really nasally today because I've got glasses on, but I've had a bit of a cold, so yeah, funky sort of sounding voice. Sorry about that. But yeah, that's the look we're going for. The other thing is, you could probably, if you wanted to, and I'm not, because I'm keeping it simple at the moment, but what you could do is to put a little thread or something just to make like a bookmark to come from here in. The purpose of this is just basically to get through and show you how I made my little fairy journal. Or you could put, oh, what are those, like a stud of some sort or a hole there, using a one of your crocodile tools, if you've got one, to make a hole, and just make a little loop there and put a chain from it and hang it around your neck for a piece of jewellery. Or you can just give it to any little girl that you might think would really like this journal or this type of thing. I'm going to push it in. I'm just trying to think of the instrument I need here. Let's get a pencil. Just going to push it in the middle here, just so that see how it's going towards the back there? Just going to push it in so that it's giving us a rounded edge at the back rather than a straight across edge. You don't have to do this, but I suppose the more stuck it is to the back of the spine area, the better. I might actually have to make this a little bit bigger, I think, just so that we can have a little bit more overhang on the front and the back. Yes, I'm pushing it in, making sure it's stuck down. I haven't stuck the front pages down firmly yet. I'm just sort of wait for this glue to dry. It looks like it's taken on there. It's quite a fast drying glue, this one. Yeah, very, very good glue. Will glue anything you can think of, and really quick drying too. So, all right, so that's the fairy journal. Now I'm just going to maybe I'm going to leave the front and the back just for the sake of the video. Just I don't have to glue that all down right now, but that's how it's going to look in the end. And yeah, I'm quite happy with the way that turned out. F is for fairy. You can see the little fairy there, dragonfly, fairy bride. Yeah, so I've just made up little poems all along the way just to match with the fairies that I've put in here. So yeah, you've got quite a few little pages there. It'd be a lovely gift for any little girl. Yeah, if you like it, tick it. If you want to subscribe, that'd be fantastic. And yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this video, even though it was quickly thrown together. I'll try and make a few of these, maybe different covers on them, but this one is available anyway if you choose to go ahead and try it yourself. Just get the printable from my Etsy shop at Vintage Style Journals. Thank you so much for watching.